Alright, back to BK9. We're going to move on past the 1000 grit stone. Instead of jumping up to the 6000 grit stone, I'm going to use this 1200 stone. I know it's only 200 grit more, but it works a little different. These are what you can consider an Aoto stone. It's a good pre-polishing stone to a finishing stone. A little better than what something like a 1K is going to be. I typically would go to my 6K, but steel's good and hard. I don't want to run the risk of working too long in that stone to get out a scratch pattern that's just a lot easier dealt with this stone prior to using that one. Build a little mud on this one because this blade is not going to work up its own mud on the stone. It's not that type of bevel or knife to do that. Alright, so let's get started. Stone works fairly quickly, puts on a really sharp edge. The customer that owns this one also has a BK7, which I might go pull out, that I finished on this stone. He likes a little bit of a toothier edge, a little more bite and grab in the edge for his smaller blades that are more dedicated to things like fibrous cutting, whereas this blade's going to be more of a chopping blade, dedicated to chopping wood and processing wood at a campsite, large tasks, possibly even some butchering. I don't know if you can see in the video, but the slurry itself is turning dark as it's being broken down and mixes with the swarf for the blade steel that's being removed. It actually reduces its own grit and uses slurry to polish the bevel up. That's how you get the higher grit appearance and finish and edge from the stone, even though it's only a 1200 grit. Alright, so that's good for that stone. Move on to the final stone. As you can see, the stone's always used. It's always dirty every time I pull it out. Using the Gara stone to clean off all the old swarf. I'm just going to use a light slurry today just to improve the feedback, feel, and smoothness of the blade travel across the stone. Some stones that you use, if you don't use a slurry with them, especially on some natural stones that are very hard, the blade will slip across the surface almost like a hydroplaning effect, and sometimes even stick to the surface, scarring the steel and damaging the work you've just done. Alright, so let's see what this does. Right here I'm riding up on the edge, creating the actual apex of the bevel. It's just slightly higher of an angle than the main sharpening angle, or when I'm polishing back the shoulder of the bevel. Just remember, this sharpening that I'm doing is a convex sharpening. It's not exactly a straight bevel. There's multiple angles induced into the planes of each side of the bevel. Some might call this a stepped bevel, because if you look at it under a microscope, it'd be a bunch of individual grind lines running down the blade. But when you look at it visually, all you see is one bevel. That edge we have right there is pretty nice. Very nice, actually. Very sharp. Extremely sharp, I should say. Play off for a little demonstration. But we're not done. Got a little bit more to do on the stone. And then we'll do a little stropping, and it'll be all finished. Okay, so we got a burr along this side. I'm going to work to remove a little bit. I think that's good for this one. We're going to go ahead and stop it there and move on to the Stropping video.